great evening. This evening, I want to talk a little bit about having discernment, okay? Now, I know there are people out there, and there's this woman that claims to be a prophet, okay? Christian church. Now, I don't have anything against holy rollers. Lord knows I had one grandmother that was a holy roller, okay? Praise Jesus, okay? They'd go down to the river for baptism. They didn't have a baptismal font in the church. No, they'd go down to the river, okay? So they were, holy rollers. Now, nothing wrong with being a holy roller. Now, my other grandmother was a Mennonite. Now, you can't get any further across the spectrum than that. So, visiting one grandmother out there, praise Jesus, hallelujah, and the other one, you're sitting there with your little white cap, very quiet in church. So, really, two ends of the spectrum. Now, people need to have discernment. I don't care if somebody wants to say they're a prophet. Now, what is a prophet? A prophet is one that's supposed to be closer to the divine, that's giving out these words of knowledge, etc. Okay? They're supposed to be basically an intermediary speaking the word to edify people, okay? To give edification. But I'm going to read some things about what Christ said. They should be advocates of Christ, shouldn't they? They should be advocates and speaking and following the path of Yeshua ben Joseph, okay? Jesus, if you want to call Jesus, or Yeshua ben Joseph, what he would have been known as there. Okay, but let's look and see what Jesus had to say, and then I'll say, why is my concern with this person that says they're a prophet, and they're, of the Holy Roller School, out of breath, and then scream a thing, and then out of breath, and then scream another thing, and getting people worked up. That's what they do. But let's look and see what Christ said. He said, beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they're ravening wolves. You shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree brings forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree brings forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that brings not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Wherefore, by their fruits you shall know them. Not every one that says to me, Lord, Lord, shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he that does the will of my Father, which is in heaven. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name? And in your name cast out devils? And in your name done many wonderful works? And then I will profess to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you that work iniquity. Okay? So then we go on to Matthew 7. Therefore, whosoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. And in the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it didn't fall. It fell not, because it was found upon a rock. So who's the rock? Peter. Paul was not the rock that Christ said he's going to build his church on, but we see so many of these ones that are more preaching Paul than they are Peter. Okay? Saul of Tarsus was not with Christ. Okay? He said, upon this rock, Peter, I will build my church. So let's go forward. And everyone that hears these sayings and does not do them will be like a foolish man which builds his house on sand, and the rain descends, the floods come, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. So then he goes into the Beatitudes, okay? Now, this is important, the Beatitudes. Blessed be ye poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are you that hunger now, for you will be filled. Blessed are you that weep now, for you will laugh. Blessed are you when men shall hate you, and when they shall separate you from their company, and shall reproach you. Okay? They're going to shun you. It's going to say, and cast out your name as evil for the Son of Man's sake. Rejoice in that day and leap for joy, for behold, your reward is great in heaven, for in the like manner did their fathers do to the prophets. But woe to you that are rich, for you have received your consolation. Okay, so now this points to those churches that are all about money. Give me money, prosperity, this and that, okay? Because those were not teachings of Christ, okay? Let's go forward. Woe to you that are full, for you will hunger. Woe to you that laugh now, you will mourn and weep. Woe to you when men shall speak well of you, for so did their fathers to the false prophets. Okay? You're going to like the false prophets because they're going to say what ego wants to hear. Okay? And so we're getting into that part where I'm going to talk about discernment. Okay? But when I say to you which hear, love your enemies, do good to them which hate you. What is it? Love your enemies and do good to those which hate you. Okay? This is important. Remember this part. Bless them that curse you. What does it say? Bless them that curse you and pray for them which despitefully use you. And to him that smites you on one cheek, offer the other. And he that takes away your cloak, forbid not to take your cloak. Give every man that asks, and to him that takes away your goods, ask them not again. And as you would have that men should do to you, do also to them likewise. For if you love them which love you, what thanks have you? For sinners also love those that love them. And if you do good to them which do good to you, what thanks have you? For sinners also do the same. And if you lend to them of whom you hope to receive, what thanks have you? For sinners also lend to sinners to receive much again. But love your enemies, and do good, and lend, and hope for nothing again, and your reward will be great, and you will be children of the highest, for he is kind to the unthankful and to the evil. What does he say? He's kind to the unthankful and to the evil. God gives blessings. So be merciful as your Father is also merciful. Judge not. Now, how many times do we see those that are going out and judging? What's it say? Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. And we got those out there that are condemning and judging and calling people demons, etc. Okay? It's not their place to do that. So what's it say? Judge not, and you will not be judged. Condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Okay? Give, and it will be given to you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, shall men give to your bosom, for with the same measure that you meet it withal shall be measured to you again. Can the blind lead the blind? Shall they not both fall in the ditch? The disciple is not above his master, but everyone that is perfect shall be as his master. Okay? And why behold the mote that's in your brother's eye, but perceive not the beam that's in your own eye? Okay? So, and then it goes on to talk about the good tree brings forth good fruit, and people are known by the fruit, what they're giving. So, what did Christ do when he went to the temple? He said, the temple is a place of prayer, and you've made it a den of thieves, and he turned over the tables. And what does he say about, doing good to those? Well, this so-called prophetess, let's look at some of the things that she's hawking over there. Now, did Christ go out with the disciples and say, come on, now you set up your tables over here, and we're going to hawk this stuff to these people, and you can make some money, okay? We're going to hawk this stuff. So let's see what she's hawking over here, okay? I want to get over to this one, though, first, before we get to all of those things. Gee, for $18, you can get the prayer for the annihilation and assassination of your enemies. Let me say that again. This is from this person that's supposed to be a prophetess of God. Okay? Now, what did Christ say? Do good to those. Pray for those. Okay? No, what's she saying? Prayer for the annihilation and assassination of her enemies. Okay? Now, I don't know what Jesus she's preaching, but it's not the one that I know. Where does he say anywhere, here, pray for the annihilation and assassination of your enemies? That comes from ego. That comes from the realm of satanic Satanism, okay? Of that type of ideation. So you could get it in a CD, or you can get it in book form, How to Pray for the Assassination, I kid you not, and annihilation of your enemies. Now that's 180 degrees away from what Christ was saying. He said, pray for them, okay? Do good to them. So you think that praying for annihilation and assassination of them is following what Christ had to say? Okay? Now let's look at some other little treasures that we've got going over there from this person that's supposed to be a prophet, okay? Supposed to be, being out there, doing good, speaking for God. Well, for $15, you can get basically a 50-cent cross that's been anointed, okay? For $65, you can get an anointed prayer mat. For $25, you can get an anointed scarlet bracelet. Now, can you see Jesus, the apostles out there hawking this stuff? Make sure you get your prayer mats, Okay, get your bracelet, get your anointed cross, okay? Get your Engedi anointed oil, $35 today. Engedi premium drinking water, a pack of 6 is only $30 today. Get your Engedi salt in water, $30, okay? Engedi spray, $25. You can get your kids' anointed prayer mat, $45. A kid's prophetic prayer pillow, $45. Power to Dream Again pillow, $75. Oh yeah, nothing says prophetess like this, okay? Prophetic prayer pillow, $55. A prayer shawl, $195. A prayer scarf, $145. Now, can you see Jesus out there having his disciples out there hawking prayer shawls, prayer mats, stream pillows? No. None of this speaks to somebody being a prophet of God. Okay? This is somebody that is a wolf in sheep's clothing, that's using and abusing people, okay? Out there, just breathless, screaming and breathless and saying what ego wants to hear, and behind the scenes, hawking pillows, shawls, prayer mats, water, $30 for a pack of 6 water, okay? What part of this fits in with anything that Christ was pointing to? And that's why I say people need to have discernment. Look and see what they're doing behind the scenes, okay? Because no genuine prophet of God is going to be having basically a pyramid scheme system of selling this stuff, okay? Hawking this stuff behind the scenes. Can you see Jesus? Can you see the apostles out there? Make sure you get your prayer mat, okay? Get your water from Engedi, $30 for 6 bottles. Make sure you get your anointed cross here, okay? So where does any of that fit in with what Christ was saying? Okay? 180 degrees away from it. Pray for the annihilation and destruction of your enemies. And what did Christ say? He didn't say pray for their destruction and their annihilation. He said, give good. Do good. Give good. Okay? And so that's why I want to put this out here. Have some discernment. Look at what these people are doing behind the scenes. Yes, I know it sounds good to ego. They get you wild up. They get you, all excited. And you're going to say something that ego wants to hear. Okay? But if they're selling things like how to destroy and annihilate your enemies, prayers to annihilate and destroy, what's the difference between that and voodoo? Okay? Praying for destruction of somebody. Because that is exactly the opposite of what Christ's admonitions are. And if you are a Christian and a prophet, should you not be speaking what Christ was speaking? Okay? So I'm going to leave this here, but it's amazing to me that people are so blind that they can't even look that far to see if somebody's hawking stuff like that. Christ said the temple is a place of prayer and you've made it a den of thieves. So how much better is this? Okay? Buy your special prayer mat. Okay? Buy your special prayer shawl. You can't pray without a special shawl and a mat. Okay? If somebody's hawking that stuff, then they are not coming from the light. Okay? So I'm going to leave this here. Lord, have mercy. People, please use some discernment and don't get pulled into these types of con people. Just okay. So thanks and have a great evening. Love and light. See you online.